folks, it's Shannon. Welcome on in. Today is the 8th night of Samhain, and so the Wild Witch asked of me what recipe would I like to share. So basically that's the prompt for today, is to share a favorite Samhain recipe. So yes, caveat, be very, very careful when you're working with plant spirits, because you can actually hurt yourself, and I don't want that to happen for any of you. This is all for educational purposes. It's not for diagnosing or treating anything. All the caveats go in here. So I don't have like a ton of traditions around Samhain yet, since I'm still a fairly new practitioner. I've only been practicing the craft for about 4 and a bit years at this point. Maybe 4.5 actually. We're getting close. Anyway, so I'm still kind of feeling out what exactly Samhain means to me, which we'll talk about in a future video. Stay tuned. But one thing that I love to do for the Sabbats in general is to make a tea. And I was a little bit stumped today, I'm not going to lie. It's been a long day. This has been a lot of videos. I spent a lot of time talking with one of my friends. So I wanted to walk you through kind of my thought process and the making of a tea. We're not going to drink out of this. We're going to use it as a bowl. So I have my herbs here. I want to talk through how I picked them, and we're going to end up with tea in here, which I will then use on Samhain and probably quite a bit during this time of year. So there's a couple of ways that you can approach making a tea. One is knowing kind of what your intuition, also true, but what your intention is, and basing the tea that you make off of kind of the herbalism wisdom that is passed down through generations. Another way is kind of through your own relationships with the plant spirits. And I think that was more what happened today for me, is I was sitting here wanting to make something for Samhain and not knowing exactly what I want to make. Not having a particularly strong intention, but wanting to see which herbs wanted to step forward to work with me. And I think I can put together a pretty convincing intention from them. But the first one that stepped forward for me was yarrow. So I don't know if you know what yarrow looks like, but I'm going to show you. So this is a bunch of yarrow flowers. And yarrow is really good for lowering blood pressure, for stopping bleeding, and for kind of supporting the heart. Which made me think about the fact that I've been kind of stressed lately at work and just in general. Nothing crazy, but a little bit more stressed than I'd love to be. And that I've also been working a fair amount with Mother Mary, which made me think of Rose. Whoop, ding. So those are some lovely rose petals that we will work with as well. And then I wanted something to tie it together. And this was kind of an unusual choice, I think, but it spoke to me. So this is skullcap. I have a ton of it, as you can see, but I don't have it in a jar because I don't have a big enough jar for it. It's been sitting waiting for me to use it, and I think today is the time. So skullcap is good for headaches. It's good for, it's a nervine, so it kind of helps soothe and relax, kind of like chamomile, but with its own particular flavor. So I think those are the 3 plant spirits that we're going to work with. The next step is figuring out how much of each you want to put together in your tea. And a lot of teas work with either one of a couple different things. One can be just intuition. once you've like formed relationships and done a fair amount of research on the teas, don't just be drinking things without knowing whether that's safe for you with your meds, with your medical history, with just whether it's a poison or not. um, Make sure you do your research. But I've worked with each of these plants and know that they're ones that like to work with me. So then you can do blending based on the triangle. I don't know if you've seen it anywhere, but there's like the active ingredient is like 50 to 70%. There's a supportive ingredient that's like 10 to 20%, and then like 5% of something that kind of activates everything. I don't think that that's what these plant spirits want to do today. So that is a totally legit way to do tea blends. I often end up using 3 or so plants in my teas, and I often use them in fairly equal parts. I think today we're going to use 2 parts. So part, what's a part? So a part just means anything. It can be volume, like this scoop. It can be weight. It can be like a teaspoon. It's just one of something. So I'm going to use this 1/4 cup measuring cup, and we're going to do, I think, 2 parts of skullcap to 1 part of yarrow and 1 part of rose. And then we'll see if any of the plant spirits want to do some extra work, or if that is a good blend of the 3 of them. Okay, I've wrestled the skullcap open. I did that off camera, you're welcome. And now we're going to start mixing. So usually what I do is get 1 part of the plant spirit, and I put it into my vessel. Then I'll get the next part of plant spirit and put it into my vessel. And for me, I kind of start putting my intention into the tea at this stage. It's actually already started for me when I'm choosing what herbs I'm going to work with. But at this point, I'll sit here with skullcap for a minute, and I'll remember the meditation that we did together when I first met skullcap, and the smile that it brought to my face at that time, and the slightly sour taste of it with a very like green, grassy feel. And I'll just ask that plant spirit to come and work with me again in this tea. And then we'll do kind of a similar thing for each of the other herbs. So next is yarrow. These are the flowers of the yarrow plant that are dried. We're gonna not make a mess. Okay. I'm gonna spend some time with yarrow. Yarrow can be used for exercising things magically and kind of purifying things and cleansing. I feel like it, for all that it stops bleeding, it also just like cuts through bullshit in a way that some other plants don't. But is also just very like, yeah, supportive to the heart. And so I think about those qualities of yarrow, and I ask that yarrow will come and work with skullcap. Most of my herbs I keep in mason jars. It helps them last a little bit longer. But like I said, I don't have a mason jar big enough for that skullcap. All right, let's move on to rose. Now, rose, I'm guessing most of you have worked with rose at some point. Uh, Typically associated with love, but I also think of it very much as supporting the heart. And so I think that this tea is going to be supporting the heart and kind of clearing the way, kind of relaxing the system down so that I can receive messages around Samhain, whether that be from the elements, my goddesses, my guides, or my ancestors. So yeah, rose also associated with Mother Mary, who you may have noticed is sitting right here all throughout the year because I pulled her as my goddess guide for the year. So, kind of a tip of the hat to Mother Mary. And with that, let's ask Rose to come and work with Yarrow and Skullcap. And at this point, the next step is to blend the herbs together. Oh my goodness. This mason jar does not want to close. There we go. The next step is to mix the herbs together. You don't want your tea to be all skullcap and not have some good yarrow and rose in there. So I usually will just stir with intention, with the intention being kind of the supporting my heart and opening my mind. And I kind of do this until it looks like it's mixed well, till there's like a fairly uniform amount of the yarrow and the rose, since there's less of that in amongst the skullcap. Let's do a couple more just for good measure. See what I did there? All right, that's looking pretty good. And this is the part of getting good quality herbs, is that they look beautiful and they function well, especially when you have relationships with them. So, where do I get my herbs from? You may have noticed that these are all from different places. So, Apothecary at Home is a subscription that I was a part of for a while. I love their herbs. This skullcap came from Mountain Rose Herbs, which is also a really good source. And I actually don't remember where I got this rose. The label's not on the top anymore. And it may have been from a different herbalist, but that is not the most important thing. But I just wanted to give you some options of places that I've gotten herbs before. Okay, and I'm sitting and I'm kind of imagining and feeling my heart energy. I think I've talked about this before on the channel, but I don't visualize super well, and so I'm much more feel energy. And I'm going to take that energy from my heart space and put it into the tea. And then I'm going to think about a clear, open mind and feel that energy in my head. I'm going to put that into the tea as well. Because when I make tea, it's not just medicinal. Though I am, I guess I can say now I'm a trained herbalist, which is pretty fun. I finished Rosemary Gladstar's herbalism, the science and art of herbalism course, and I learned a ton from it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm very much still on my herbal journey, but know a lot more than I did when I started. So, and have met many a plant in the meantime. Anyway, so I spend a lot of time thinking about the medicinal uses of these, but also of the magical uses of them, and believe that I can work with both aspects of the plant spirits. So then we transfer to a glass jar, and we've got our finished tea. That's what it looks like. It smells good. I guess I'll have to tell you how it works later. I think I'm not going to brew some right now. So if you're curious, let me know and I'll report back. But that is my open mind, clear heart. Oh, what's that phrase from Friday Night Lights? It's like clear heart, clear eyes, can't lose, or something like that. I can't remember it right now, but I will find it. Maybe that's what I mean for my tea. Anyway, I hope this was interesting, showing you a little bit of my process for how I make teas. I suppose I should tell you like how I actually make tea, not just the blend. So at this point, when I'm ready to make a cup of tea, I will take probably like a tablespoon worth of this and put it in one of my strainers. I will boil up tea to boiling, and will put about 8 ounces per teaspoon of water, and let it brew for 10 minutes. 10 minutes. So herbal tea goes much longer than black tea or green tea or white tea. And if you didn't know there were different colored teas, now you know. But yes, herbal tea tends to go a little bit longer because you want to really extract the essence of the herbs into the water. And then you enjoy. And as I said before, sometimes I'll meditate while I drink my tea and just see if the plant spirits or any other spirits have thoughts that they want to share with me. And I try to stay tuned into my body and kind of feel if there are any changes in my body from working with the plant spirit. Obviously, a lot of this is intuitive, and you have to trust yourself, and have done your research. So, yeah, with all that, I think we'll close things up. I hope this was interesting. I hope that you have something delightful and delicious to enjoy on Samhain when it comes. And I will see you later. Bye.